Hey, I'm John F. Gately. Welcome back to the show. And today I want to talk about the upcoming trial of Douglass Mackey, also known as Ricky Vaughn, the Twitter troll. I think that's fair enough to call him a Twitter troll. His trial is supposed to start this past Monday, but now it's been delayed until next week. And it represents quite a number of challenges from the First Amendment all the way to the Sixth Amendment. And we're going to get into it in this video. But right off the bat, I think the essence of this trial about Ricky Vaughn is whether or not you consider this post, which he put up in 2016, whether you consider this post here to be a meme, a joke, effectively, or whether you consider this post here to be voter suppression. So we all know about memes. Those kind of speak for themselves. And you know, what does this basically say? Avoid the line, vote from home, text Hillary to this number. So do you take that seriously? Or is that a version of the old internet joke, you know, hey, don't forget to vote on Wednesday, when, of course, the election, as everyone knows, is Tuesday? Or is this meme a really serious effort to suppress the vote, like the Klan would do back in the day? Hey, everyone votes at the firehouse, and then people show up at the firehouse, and we didn't say firehouse, we said schoolhouse. And of course, the schoolhouse is across a river, which you can't swim across. It's too dangerous. And basically, those people lose their right to vote. And that's not a joke. That's a serious constitutional violation. And things like that happened. And that's why Ricky Vaughn, or Doug Mackey, is being prosecuted under this law from, I think it's 1871. Remember, I'm not a lawyer, thankfully. I was smart enough not to go to law school. And so the essential question is whether that is a meme, a joke, or a really concerted effort to suppress the vote. So when we look at this here, one of the first things we're going to pull up here is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is working very hard to get Douglass Mackey convicted in this particular case. We're going to mention them later on in this video. But with the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're calling this guy here the disinformation king, the alt-right disinformation king. I mean, they really have it out for him. He's 33 years old. He used to be from Vermont, and then after the 2016 election, he moved to Florida. He was doxxed in 2018, and the federal government indicted him on January 27th, 28th, basically just after Biden took office and took control of the Department of Justice. Do a little notes here. It's kind of a complicated little case, so I took some notes. So the trial did not start last Monday because of actually something that the Southern Poverty Law Center is involved with. What is this case all about? Well, if we look at this is your Department of Justice statement, I think the most important part says right here, the alleged complaint in 2016, remember this happened in 2016, and he didn't get indicted until January of 2021, and now 2 years later, this happened a long time ago. Not that necessarily means anything, but it's a little bit long on the tooth. But I guess that's how the federal government acts, especially when you have the Trump administration. They weren't going to indict him, and then they had to wait till they got a prosecutor who was willing to take this on, which they found in the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland. So Mackey conspired with others to use social media platforms, including Twitter, to disseminate fraudulent messages designed to encourage supporters of one of the presidential candidates to vote via text message. Now, a very important portion of this here is that the government is alleging that they got, some of the fine print is pretty funny. Must be 18-year-old or vote. On that poster that I showed you, you must be 18 years older to vote. One vote per person. Must be a legal citizen of the United States. Not available in Guam, Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii. They're alleging that they got at least 4,900 victims, basically, who texted this number and thought they were voting for Hillary Clinton. But of course they weren't. They weren't. It was just a I don't want to say joke. It was a non-functional way to vote. You can't vote that way by just texting your vote. That's ridiculous. I'm sure some Democrats would like to make it that easy, right? We already have a lot of voter fraud with the so-called mail-in vote, which is a joke to begin with. But maybe this is what the Democrats really want. But in this particular case, they're charging that 4,900 people texted this number thinking that they were actually voting for Hillary Clinton, which of course was not true. That's what the claim is. Now, before we actually move over to the Sixth Amendment concern, I just want to ask you a question. If you have 4,900 victims in this case, and which you can read in the Southern Poverty Law Center or the New York Times or anybody out there that's mentioning this case, there's 4,900 victims. One of the most important things that I always look for is not the negative, but the absence of a statement, the absence of proof. And so my question to you is just, I'll give you like 3 seconds to think of this answer, but if we have 4,900 victims, where are they? Right? None of the articles that I can read anywhere on the internet, at least that I've found, ever quotes a victim either by name or anonymously that says, yeah, I've texted the number and I thought I was voting for Hillary Clinton. None of them come out with a victim that says, hey, I was victimized here. I would have thought that like the Justice Department or somebody would have had a mechanism for several dozen of these victims to come forward. A press conference with them all standing behind or something like that. But we haven't seen that. We'll get back to that again. Now, the more controversial, I think, issue here at hand is if we pull up this article from Revolver, and Revolver's been pushing this case big time. I think like today, if you go to Revolver, the top like 4 stories on Revolver are about this case. But one of the very disturbing aspects of this case is the Sixth Amendment issue. And in that, the federal government has a witness against Mr. Mackey, previously known on the internet as Ricky Vaughn. And this witness has not been named. Now, the fundamental principle of the Sixth Amendment is that you can face your accuser. It's not an absolute right, but it's pretty much absolute. It's as absolute as you can get. I mean, there's a trace amount of exceptions to that. You can face your accuser. You have the right to face your accuser. And the reason why we have that is because if you don't have that right, then people can make things up against you anonymously and there's no repercussion. So, amongst other reasons. But in this case here, there is a confidential witness, a CW. And this witness previously engaged or was a compatriot, so to speak, with the defendant, Mr. Mackey. And in this particular case, let's see if we have the CW. Let's see if we can highlight this here. The CW, the witness, has engaged in such harassing behavior with the defendant previously, meaning online harassment. As such, the government anticipates that if the witness' true identity were to become known, then those with whom the witness associated online would likely engage in such behavior towards the witness. In other words, if the witness flips publicly, the witness is going to be subject to online harassment. And I just got to tell you, online harassment is bad, right? But it doesn't rise to a level where we waive someone's constitutional Sixth Amendment right to face their accuser. If you're going to testify and you're telling the truth, then go up there and testify and tell the truth. And if you get harassed online, I don't know, shut your phone off or something. You know, that's not a physical threat. And even some cases where the witness might face physical threat, they've still have had to, like in gang cases, still have had to testify in person. But in this particular case, from what I understand, the judge, again, not a lawyer right here, the judge has sided with the government in order to keep this witness's identity concealed, and so that Mr. Mackey has effectively lost his Sixth Amendment right to face his accuser. That seems to be even a higher level concern in facing or creating a precedent, waiving the Sixth Amendment if, for instance, the witness might face harassment online. I think that's a huge concern for Mr. Mackey and for everybody, not whether you're on the right or the left. The value of the Sixth Amendment is incredibly important for everybody, regardless of your political point of view. All right, so getting back to the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I don't want to get into this that much, but effectively the delay in this trial is connected in some strange way about an article that the Southern Poverty Law Center is preparing to publish. It hasn't published yet, in which it might say things that would be, how do I want to say this, unflattering to a potential witness for the defense, an expert witness for the defense. And you want to read more about this, you can go and get this document. It's very easy to find on the internet from Andrew Fisher's office. He's the attorney for Mr. Mackey. So basically, because the Southern Poverty Law Center was preparing this article, and now Mr. Hawley, the expert witness for the defense, can't testify, and so the defense has got to go get a new witness, effectively. So that's another little twist in this article or in this case, and it seems like it's very intrusive by the Southern Poverty Law Center, but we'll let the cookie crumble because it hasn't entirely crumbled on that matter yet. The big question, once again, is whether you consider this to be a meme, a joke, or real voter suppression, evil voter suppression, where literally you're directing people elsewhere and they're being disenchantfied, you know what I mean, from their actual constitutional right to vote. Where do you come down on that? Let me just say that, and you may know where I'm going on this, but if you can't provide any victims, any real people. There's 4,900 people that called. And you must know how many, somehow the federal government's done some research on that. You must know those numbers. Well, pick up the phone and call those people and have them come forward as actual witnesses by the dozens or scores or hundreds. Oh yeah, Ricky Vaughn took away my right to vote. And if you did that, then I would totally be like, you know what, Ricky Vaughn, Doug Mackey, you did some wrong here. Yeah, you went over the line. Or maybe the reason why the government can't produce those people is because those people understand if they admit to being a victim, then they're also admitting to the fact that they fell for something that was incredibly stupid, so stupid that it was a joke, a meme. All right, I'm John F. Gately from Plymouth, America's hometown here in Massachusetts, behind enemy lines. Have a great day.